All right, excellent. Well, we're going to get started with the webinar. So thanks everybody for joining today's webinar on the Q1 2018 release. From here on out, as you know, we do our webinar, our releases every 2 months has been our practice. We're now actually going to quarterly, so you can expect new releases on the quarter. So this is our Q1 of 2018, and the next obviously will be coming towards the end of Q2, or in 3 months. Actually, is more what it's going to be. I'm Lee Kessler. I'm going to be walking you through our newest features in the recent release that went live this morning. There is a Q&A capability here. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask, and I'm going to try to get to them. If you have questions I'm not able to ask, I will definitely make sure they get answered. So if you have a question about anything, please feel free to enter it there, and I will reach out to our dev team or our client services team to make sure I get any answers that I may not know the answer to. So let's go ahead and get started with the release, and we're going to walk through. Hopefully, everybody has the document that came along with the release. It was part of the email that went out this morning. If you don't, it is easy to find. Let me go ahead and make the screen bigger. And it's available up here. So when you click that button, that will open up this, and you can download the new release explainer guide. That's how the pacing we're going to use here. We're going to follow those slides today. And remember, always check there to see if there's any new information. You can always go back there to get the release information. We use that, what we call a drawer up there, to provide important information. So the first thing I want to show you that's part of the new release is related to donations and the ability to have more functionality around in-kind. In-kind, you can see here, this is a traditional transaction donation that I've created, and all the features here, and it's going to ask payment method. This drop down here, you have cash, check, in-kind, other, or none. Now, it used to be other is where you'd find in-kind. Now, if you go to in-kind, which I'm going to do here, that's going to give me a bunch of options around in-kind. And you can see here automobiles, bonds, mutual funds, stock, etc. You'll also see, and this was part of the screenshot you have on your explainer guide, but we didn't fully show it, and it's probably relevant, is that you can add things: value, the tax deductibility, confirmation, receipted, acknowledged, sold, the sale price, currency, the sale date, any broker fee, etc. So there's a lot of information you can capture around an in-kind donation, and that has been made easier here in CharityEngine. Next thing we're going to talk about is the multiple, actually, here. Let me show this because I forgot to open this one. So we're going to go to transaction search. Okay. And what we have now is you can filter on multiple, when you're looking at the search and manage listings for transactions, you can go to the second tab, payment, and you can have multiple filters. So maybe you want to look for all the transactions that are account blocked, account closed, account frozen, so forth. So this allows you to do multi criteria filtering in a single category. That is a new capability. Look in the future for that to be expanded throughout the search capabilities and reporting. This is the first place you're seeing it displayed. I believe you will see it in more places upcoming. Next is more functionality in the send acknowledgments. And again, multiple enhancements here to this screen. More details around the transaction view, the ability to filter on batches and mark the records as acknowledged, sort by contact type. So here's where you can search by contact type, organization, person, household. You can enter batch IDs here for search purposes. But as you can see over here under Add the Actions button next to James Burke's donation of $10 is Send Acknowledgement or Mark as Acknowledged. So that is a great new Mark it as Acknowledged is a great new capability. It used to be that you had to go into the record, then mark it as acknowledged. Now you can do it right from here. And there's a number of other different just again listings capabilities here that you see we've added, but that's one of the big ones is sending acknowledgement, mark as acknowledged right from this screen. Okay, this is a great new capability which really shows the power of an integrated platform and what CharityEngine does when we bring together a lot of information over a donor's journey and being able to really manage that. What we see here is on these particular transaction records, you see this little icon. And when I roll over the icon, it's going to show me that different information was provided on the transaction record versus the associated contact record. So maybe somebody, what it's just doing is letting you know that you have this person as a record in the system. They've entered new information that we've assigned to them, but they've actually provided varying information. Maybe normally you have their home address and now they've entered their work address. We can see that just by rolling over it. So it's acknowledged with the little icon, and then when we roll over, we see it. And then we can do things like reassign the contact or update the contact. So we can add new update the information that we've learned from that. So keep your eyes peeled during transactions for that icon, and that will allow you to make any changes. You can things like here, let me go ahead and let's say if we were to do the update. So update name, yes or no, update the address. Do you want to make changes? Overwrite the primary, add as a primary and demote the current, add as a secondary, phone, same capabilities. So really great capabilities right here. When you've seen something, you don't have to click around and move around the system. You have it at your fingertips. All right, moving ahead to our next slide or screen is just that we've added, you'll recall these, and I apologize, I'm looking at a sandbox where the information isn't real, so it's just showing the graphs. We've added more graphs, inline graphs. These are called inline graphs. You've seen this on the campaigns for initiatives. Now you're going to see these graphs appear in more places. So it's just better visualization to easily look and see information. Again, part of what we're really focusing on is the ability to present data to you in as easy a manner as possible. We just got a question, and that's a good one. Do you have the ability to filter by transactions with that yellow circle with the exclamation point? I do not think currently, but I will confirm that. I think at the moment, no, but that is a great suggestion. And so that will be something I will take to the team. It's possible, and that I'm just not familiar with that, but that is a good question. But as you can see, it's easy to visually see which ones have it and which ones don't. Okay, so we did our inline graphs. Now moving to form field, form validation messaging. So this is just a neat little capability to customize and personalize the experience when the donor is on their journey with you. And these are required fields. As you know, if you've ever built a field and you have a form field, the data validation tab is what, if I click this off, it no longer would be required. But if somebody doesn't fill in the information on a form and it is required, it's going to have an error message of some sort. This just allows you to to personalize that message with whatever you want. And you'll see when you click the button is when add validation message appears. If I click it off, it will go away. So when you get here, if nothing is filled in, it will look empty. Don't think that, no, that's not taken care of. You just need to click it to open it up. And you can see a couple examples like here with greater than or equal to, etc. So play around with that, get to know that. But again, that helps you add your personality and brand to the donor experience. You can see in the example I had, dude, did you forget me? So feel free to borrow that idea. Next thing I want to show is Captcha Capabilities on forms. That is now part of a system dropdown. When you create a form, you just create a form field on a form. Under General, it's the type of system. If you've ever done this dropdown, you'll know you have all sorts of options from checkbox and content block dropdowns to specific system things like product, ticket, price. These are things that are already connected with the rest of the system. Again, the benefits of a fully integrated platform. But here, just make it CAPTCHA. And when you do, that will create a CAPTCHA on your form. CAPTCHA is just another way to make sure that you're protecting yourself against fraud, making sure that it's not bots going after your page. Those of you with advanced fraud protection from CharityEngine, this is not a necessary tool because of the protection that's already built in through advanced fraud. If you don't currently have advanced fraud, I highly recommend you reach out to our client services team to find out about it. It is against essentially an insurance that pays for itself very fast when you think of the savings from not being penalized for fraud. Got a question about CAPTCHA, and that's a good one. Will we need to go back to all of our active forms and make sure this CAPTCHA is set up? I believe so. Your active forms, if they don't currently have it, I think it's something you'll need to add. Again, you can reach out to client services. That is something that they can do for you and go through sort of an audit of your forms with you and do that. Okay, next is a slight enhancement, but actually really changes the experience in peer-to-peer. And that's if you've set up a family fundraising page, the vernacular is now just changed more to family, and you'll see it right here under other actions, enter donation, and add family member. So small little change, but it really helps for the experience of people who may not be comprehending the difference between a team and a family, or in the fact that they essentially can be the same thing. Here, we've actually gone deeper with family, and if they've gone the path of selecting create a family page, they now have that capability. Okay, what I wanted to show right here is for those with shopping carts, you can now actually add the ability to tie payment attribution to a shopping cart, fields like fund, GL code, and so forth. And we're going to go ahead and do that under advanced. We move over to payment. So when you've set up, if you have a shopping cart, under this section, you can see payment form that you assign the form to it, a fund that this would go to, or a GL code. So again, just helps with your financial tracking capabilities that you can actually assign that to a purchase. Okay. Next thing I want to show is the new offline payment import feature. This is something that was built around the needs for those where maybe you have a third party or your bank is actually cashing the checks for you and sending you the information so that it can be reconciled. So instead of you cashing the checks and sending the information to the bank, they're doing it for you and giving your report. That's one example. There's a couple other examples. But now when you do an import of transactions, you can import and select the mode. So import and charge payment, import as pending, import as paid, and that they've already been charged, and so forth. So just a nice feature for when you're sort of taking in money and reconciling it from different places. We've now made it easier to bring that information in. We've added in some capabilities here in sustainers for auto deactivation and separated out credit card and ACH. So this is for those of you who have sustainer programs that you're managing, credit cards that are not being paid or what have you, accounts that aren't being paid, a credit card versus ACH. And you can set, how many units back, subsequent declines, and then the cancel type, explaining what that is. It no reason provided, canceled othered, uncollectible, and we can actually create those types and have that information. A status once they've been deactivated, what the status will be, and the same goes for ACH. So now you can separate out credit card and ACH. Again, that really only pertains to those of you with sustainer programs. And speaking of which, sustainer programs, if you missed our webinar last week that we did with Nonprofit Pro Magazine on managing a large sustainer program, along with our friends from Wounded Warrior Project, it's a great webinar. It's going to be available soon on our website, so you don't want to miss that. Really great insights. We've gotten incredible feedback from people who learned a lot. So questions about sustainers, where are your people? There's a lot we can do there to help you if you're not already working on a sustainer program. Next up is real simple, just in the message templates. Now in configuration, we've added our email creation tool to create templates. So templates are just, if you've created emails, it gives you the chance to select your templates. Currently what people were doing was building an email and then saving it as a template. Now you can actually go into the system under configuration, under campaigns, right here, and under message templates, and that will allow you to just design any sort of template you want. And the last thing I want to show here is we've added some new capabilities on our APIs, some more publishing of our APIs, and you're going to see our developer portal come out real soon. If you have questions about accessing APIs, feel free to reach out to the client services, but this is going to be front-facing for you soon. And a lot of tools around APIs for both integration purposes, whether you're integrating CharityEngine with other tools, or public-facing, maybe you're designing something and you want to use CharityEngine's form fields or peer-to-peer information, whatever, as part of your design. Those are going to be accessible on this portal, and the full range of integration APIs and public web APIs. Had a question around the message templates about whether those can be uploaded in HTML from other platforms. I believe the answer is they cannot, because the email template tool is, while it creates obviously in HTML, it's not working from HTML. You can paste in code, HTML code here, but you can't use the WYSIWYG tools for editing. As far as I know, it's possible perhaps the code applies to the top and bottom, the header and the footer. I'm not sure. It's a good question, but I think you're best off recreating directly in the tool. So that's pretty much what we're covering today. Hopefully the explainer guide, remember that's available up here. Just click on that to download. Hopefully this webinar, which will be up on YouTube, is helpful. Again, always feel free to reach out to the team. We are here to help in every way possible. We hope that these changes are things you find really help improve the CharityEngine experience. We're always working towards that. And that's it. Thanks, guys, for joining, and we will see you on the next release.